Welcome to a Lingo 2 map making tutorial in Godot 4.3 Steamworks. So today I will be going over panels, and I'm going to go over this little preview I have later, but first, the panel is made either if you're starting a new template, which you really should because it gives you, all the different player and world environment and saver panels that you need to start. You will just have already a panel 1 here, and you can duplicate that with Ctrl+D or by right-clicking here and clicking duplicate, and make as many panels as you want and then reorganize them here over in the list. You can even, copy room 2 entirely so that you have, entire rooms of panels copied at once. If you do not already have a panel in your map, you might think that you can go up here, click panel, and find panel main right here. That will make a node 3D with the right script, but it won't have all of the nodes you need in the subscene here. If I make this local, you're going to see that it needs a hinge with a quad, an area, a static body, multiple label 3Ds here, some glowing stuff, a panel holder. In order to get all that on a panel, what you need to do is go to instantiate child scene here and search for panel. This will be the subscene that we just made local. So that's what this clapboard means, is that something is a subscene, and that it has additional properties within the scene tree that we're not seeing. In this case, by properties, I mean additional nodes that you can add beneath it. Alright, so that is how to make panels. Over here, that we'll notice as we go to edit them in the node inspector over here, let's actually expand this, is that we can choose what the missing line is. The clue, the symbol, or the answer. Now the symbol missing line is not terribly useful for most of what we're doing here, but clue is how you would make a reverse panel where you have to type in the clue, and answer of course is the normal panel. Symbol of course is there in case you want to do anything clever or anything really cool. Alright, and for symbols, you might be wondering, how do I type in those weird symbols? If you click on the panel script here, which can be opened by clicking on this little piece of parchment, and you scroll up to this dictionary here. This dictionary is used to change fragments of plain text into the Unicode that is actually used to represent the letter within the font. So, if I want to make synonym, which is the sun symbol, I could put sin here, and this will turn into the sun symbol. If I click on this again, you'll see my previewer pop that up. Now, there is also a symbol for antonym, which is ant, which will automatically do that. But I could also use this symbol here, the caret, to put a not symbol over it. And there is also a shortcut here for add partial letter, which will give me the squiggly. But I could also add the squiggly by putting a tilde there. And the tilde will do that. And it will also obey parity. So, the order in which it's in matters. If I want to add a dot or multiple dots, that is also just doable there. And now I have multiple dots. So that is the easy way. You can look at the script at any time to see this little cheat sheet of what I need to put in. So if I want to see surrounding of, what surrounds something as cave to bear, I can put SRR. Now, let's talk about the previewer that I'm using. One of our Discord members, Jasper, has made a panel visualizer plugin, which essentially just, it reads from the panel and modifies stuff inside of the editor. In Lingo 1, the panel modified itself in the editor by being a tool script. But tool scripts can be rather dangerous. They can change a lot that you're not really intending. It makes the panels much harder to modify for other purposes, because you always have to think about what they might do in the editor to delete themselves or change things, or otherwise not be great. So, the panel plugin, there will be a zip file. You need to unzip that zip file into the add-ons folder inside of your Lingo 2 folder. You may need to create the add-ons folder. That's just addons, no spaces. Once you have that in, you go to Project, Project Settings, Plugins, the Plugins tab right here, and then you can click on or off Panel Gizmo. You want it on. Then once you restart Godot again, you will have these black squares in front of your panels that will preview what the panels are. It really just uses the same code that is present in panels. I think it's actually a copy-paste of it instead of inheritance. So it will be completely accurate. Now, let's go back to the panels and the different things that they have. If you cannot hint a thing, that means that pressing insert or caps lock will not show the first letter. Or, well, can hint means it will show it. Can't, if you don't have this clicked, it won't show it. Unsolve means that this will unsolve itself as soon as you solve it. Always solvable, I have to look at myself right now because I haven't used that yet. So always solvable means that regardless of whether or not it is solvable, we can see here it is showing that it is solvable regardless. So if it would show itself as being locked, if it's always solvable, it instead doesn't. That doesn't mean you can solve this, it just means it is always going to show itself as solvable. If you want one panel to solve another panel, that's what proxies is for. So let's put some panels in here. So now, whenever I type into this panel here, actually, let's just make a quick collectible for myself. So let's collectible, and this is going to be the H key. Yes, and then let's duplicate this and also make the I key. So now I'm going to have the H and I key on startup. This is now going to be H, this is now going to be H, this is now going to be I. I do believe that's the two that I selected as a proxy for this panel. Now we're just waiting to load in. So now when I type into this panel, the H gets sent over here to this panel to try and solve it. Or I can type in an I, and it'll try to solve this panel, and it'll show that this panel has been answered with either one. So this is how you make a panel with multiple answers. You just hide these panels somewhere where you can't see them, where you can't unsolve them, because that creates a kind of weird situation here. And anything that needs to respond to putting an I but not H would be tied to this panel. Anything that needs to respond to H but not I would be tied to this panel. And this panel will open everything. So if you want to put in your HI, why can I not hold down Control to do that? Oh, because it's only... Okay, I see what's happening there. All right, it took me a bit, but I now understand how the fake proxies work. Again, I actually figured this out before and completely forgot. So what needs to happen here, when I have a proxy, this original panel no longer matters at all. It won't complete itself. So what I need to do for that is, if I wanted to complete an I need to have another panel here which solves to just I, but this panel also has a proxy, and that proxy can just be anything. It does not matter. It needs a proxy so that when you're crouching, it does not solve itself. The same thing that happens with this, it won't solve itself when you're crouching. So this is not going to solve itself when you're crouching, but it is going to solve itself otherwise. And now panel 2 is the panel that's actually your longer panel. So let's drop in and see how that's actually working now. So let's actually cancel this out. And now I get to HI, that solves high. I can put I, that solves it. That is not a good... I need this to be H. I've had a very, very brain damaged couple of days recently, so it's been very difficult for me to figure stuff out. So there we go. Now if I just type in H, it goes in that. If I'm holding Control and I press HI, it's doing that. So that is how you make a proxy with an answer that tries to interrupt you. The panel that wants to interrupt you needs to have a proxy of its own, and that proxy is just a garbage panel. Within the main game, a lot of those just say stuff like hi fake path and other such things. All right. So I do not believe that achieved text does anything in this game. Indeed, it doesn't have any function at all anymore inside the main panel script. That is a holdover from Lingo 1. For background materials, it would help if I spell background materials correctly. We also no longer have a match there. It used to be the case that you could change the color of a panel by putting something into background materials in Lingo 1. That is no longer the case. These are just dead fields, I believe, that can be taken out. You can now set the material directly by this handy little pedestal material here. So if I want this pedestal to be a different material, let's make it translucent red. Or, yeah, let's make it translucent red pastel. Now when we go in-game, it'll still show as white in the editor, but when we are in-game, if it loads, we now have a translucent pedestal, and you can see the internal faces between the meshes that make it up. And has pedestal. So this is how we control if the pedestal actually shows up or just the panel. So all of the wall panels are actually, they have full pedestals that are just stuck in the wall. Isn't it wonderful? By the way, the label 3Ds can be seen, but the quad is from the back, but the quad is only viewable from one side, so that's a little bit of fun. Okay, now, how do we use panels as senders? I go into the whole sender-receiver thing a lot more in the receiver video, but very briefly, if I want to make this door open when this panel goes off, I select this door, I go down to its senders, I'm going to delete the one that's already there, I'm going to take this panel and drag it into the senders. If I want to make it open when I have all of these panels, then I can go to the sender group and I can drag room 1 into the sender group. And if I want to make it on all the panels in all of my rooms, I would then, trash my sender and sender group here. I would drag panels into here and I would click nested. So normally the sender group looks for all the children of the panel you put in. So when I had put room in 1, it was looking for panel 1, 2, 3 in panel. When I put panels and nested, the nested option clicked on here, it's going to look for all the grandchildren of panels. So its children are room 1 and room 2, and room 1's children are all these, and room 2's children are all of these. Okay, what is left to cover about panels? Because I did actually have something I intended to cover. Saving. So I am going to cover savers in another tutorial because they're another complexity of their own. But for now, just understand that the savers panel that comes in new template automatically has a sender group of panels with nested put on. So that's this here. So every panel that is a grandchildren of panels is going to be automatically saved by saver panels right now. If you want to make a non-saving panel, you would just put it somewhere that saver panels isn't looking at. If I want to make a saver panel, but then I want to make it a child of this door, then I could make it a saving panel by just dragging panel 3 in to my savers here. And now that is going to save that panel as well. Now, saver panels also needs to happen after all the panels have loaded in, which means that it needs to be below all of your saved panels in the node tree. So what Godot does in terms of loading is it goes through each thing from top to bottom, and it says, okay, I'm going to load your ready, but before I load your ready, I'm going to load in all of your children. And part of loading in all your children is to load all of your readies. So it's going to ready world environment, it's going to ready player, and then all of players, going to ready all of players' child nodes actually, and then ready player. It's going to ready grid map, it's going to ready grid map 2, it's going to ready all of panels children, which is, room 1, so it's going to ready all of room 1's children, so it's going to run ready on all of these. Then it's going to go down in meshes. It's going to, again, from the bottom up, it's going to run all of the meshes that are below, all of the nodes that are below the meshes node, and then load meshes, yada, yada, yada. This is going to run its ready after the panels, and that's important because the panels need to be hooked up to the door. If there's actually two things that are going on here. The first thing is that this panel is currently opening this door. If I load into this map, and I have already solved this panel, I expect that door to be open. If the loading would run first, and this panel would solve itself, it would not yet be connected to this door. And the door is actually what does the connecting, so the saver panels also needs to be below the door. So then the door wouldn't be open on load, even though the panel that opens it would already be solved. And the second thing that happens is that if we go into load data here, at line, where is it? Here we go, active node.txt. This is going to crash unless the ready response from this panel has already run, because active node has not yet been set. If we go up to line 176, I believe it is 176. Here we go. This is where that's actually set inside of get field, and if we go to ready, this is our special function that runs whenever a panel, whenever a node is given into the scene tree. It's going to run set field for clue, symbol, and answer. Whichever one of those is our missing line up here is going to be the one that inside of set field at line 176 is going to be set to whichever one it is we want to be our clue answer. So until that runs, it does not have active node, so it's going to crash when it tries to find the text property on active node. That's actually a good thing because it means that it's going to tell us that, hey, your saver panels is in the wrong spot. But let's actually, I haven't set myself up for saving. I will show you what that does in the saving tutorial. So for now, this has been your quick run through the panel tutorial.